Hello, this is the first episode of Nothing But Bricks, the podcast where I would speak to people in the LEGO community and talk to them about what it is that they are involved in the LEGO community, whether it's brick films or custom figures or, just buying the sets in general. So this is... in this episode, I talked to FrameWork5, also known as Looking Cool Joker. I actually put up a post in a Discord server looking for guests. It was a stop motion server, saying anyone who enjoys LEGO in general and wants to be on the podcast, let me know. And he messaged me, and we recorded the episode the next day after he messaged me, and we arranged a time and everything. Also, a couple other things that I wanted to mention. I am now streaming on Twitch. If you want to follow me on Twitch so you can catch the next Twitch stream, the link will be in the description. And if you want to be a guest on this podcast, all you have to do is message me on Instagram or Twitter. Those links will be in the description as well. And just say, hey, I want to come on the podcast. And then, we can go from there and figure it out. Also, I'm hoping to do a segment in the future where I answer people's questions that they have for, or the guest and I would answer the questions. So if you have any questions that are LEGO related at all, I'll do an episode with, if I have another brick filmer on. FrameWork5 is also a brick filmer, but if I have another brick filmer on, I'll answer all the brick film related questions. And then if I have a just general LEGO enthusiast on, I'll just answer the LEGO related questions just overall. So if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments section, or you can DM me on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll let me know also in the comment or in the question if you want me to say that you left the question. So if you want it to be anonymous, let me know as well. If you want to check out FrameWork5's YouTube channel, I'll leave it linked in the description as well. So without further ado, here is the conversation with FrameWork5, aka Looking Cool Joker. Enjoy. This is episode 1 of the Nothing But Bricks podcast. Today I am joined with Looking Cool Joker. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi. Yeah, that's my only introduction.
Okay. So, what kind of involvement do you have with the LEGO community?
Well, I started off by just kind of collecting Lego, and then I stopped collecting it and took a break for a minute, and then I started building it. And doing that, I kind of got into wanting to do brick filming more after I saw a lot of other videos about it, because while I was searching up Lego.
Right. Was there anyone in particular that got you into it, or?
Well, at the beginning, it was more of Michael Hickox, just because he was the first one I found. But now I'm just kind of more advanced into people like Silly Penta, Mind Game Studios, and and more people who are just kind of made more serious brick films rather than just kind of how Michael Hickox makes these comedy ones, because I see that he puts the work into them, which is nice, but it's just, I feel like he could do so much more with, because he has a test on one of the videos that he had a test, and it was about Chewbacca, and it was kind of like a horror like skit, and I feel like if he would have continued doing something with that, it would have maybe got more of an interest to a bigger audience, which kind of, with him stopping to do that, it kind of made me feel like he's not going to go and do any more other videos, so he's not really going to advance besides just doing the comedy ones. So I kind of found that they're just kind of boring and the same.
Yeah, like it is important to push your own limits, I suppose, with what you create, but it's also important to stay on your brand so that people will, um, the people who subscribe to your videos and enjoy your videos would want to keep watching them. But yeah, I get what you're saying with trying to change it up to keep it fresh.
Yeah. Well, how about you?
Um, well, I just made a 6 minute video recently. That took me like 4 months. It's just a Marvel video with tried to mix in like comedy, bits of comedy and bits of, balance the comedy and the action properly. So yeah, just kind of had fun with it. Really was the top priority for me when I was making it.
Good, good. I always like when people put a nice kind of balance in their videos depending on what video it is.
Yeah. What kind of videos do you make?
Well, what I've been kind of aiming to is I've tried to make certain recreations of videos, but as of I don't have certain parts to in certain parts and figures. It's more of just the figures because I have some of the figures like I wanted to do a Captain America Civil War recreation, but I was actually planning on doing the whole movie. But the thing is after what happened now and what we're all going through, it kind of dimmed down of how I was able to earn money to buy some of the figures. So now I can't really buy some of the things that I was going to, like the Captain America helmet along with his shield. So without his shield, it just kind of looks weird because I have the Captain America figure from the Outrider attack, but that only involves him and from the figure from Infinity War along with Endgame, so I don't have his shield anymore because I think I lost it, so I can't do that.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, what kind of videos have you made like in the past?
Um, well, when I was in, let's see, I would say when I was in seventh grade, so it's about 4 years ago, I did a this kind of comedy one along with kind of just a kind of serious one. It was for my media teacher. She found out that I was doing Lego stop motion, and she thought that was really cool. So she wanted me to present one for the class, and I decided just to, because since it's school, I can't do anything bad with it. I kind of went with a more comedy one, along with just kind of a, I don't know how to explain it. It was just a figure kind of just saying random stupid stuff. So once I did that, I started feeling more like I thought comedy was where it was at because a lot of people liked it. They found it funny. And then I started doing more comedy, but then I started, like I said earlier, I found more serious brick filmers and along with videos. So I decided to kind of do more videos that were more directed towards a, a older audience, just because they would at least see the work instead of if it's a younger audience, some might not see the work that you put in for it.
Yeah, for sure. Like with kids, it might bring more in if you like do like Michael Heacock's type videos, but for adults, they can definitely appreciate yeah, they definitely appreciate the amount of effort that you put into every frame.
Yeah, they can see the work that the amount of work and time they put in, especially with certain people who do brick films themselves. They know the the experience you have to do certain scenes and the work that is put into it. And then they appreciate it more, and then you kind of appreciate it more when they leave a nice comment about it.
Yeah, I think that's why the whole brick filming community is such a positive one for people to be a part of, because they can appreciate that. Like if there's someone only starting out and it's a bit choppy or something, they can still appreciate that they put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's something that they really care about and are passionate about.
Yeah, I'm currently working on a project where it involves zombies with like other people in a desert. It's was deciding to make it more of a lighter thing so I could show it to other people, but then I decided with talking to other people, like my friends, I was deciding, well, if I do more of a younger audience, they might not understand some of the jokes that I want to put in. So I was like, well, I can just do an older audience, and if the younger audience does eventually see it, then if they get the joke, maybe they'll appreciate it, but at least the older audience and some other people who will get the joke will enjoy the film a little bit more.
Yeah, that's really cool. So uh, can you tell me a bit more about the zombie video?
Well, I was eventually deciding on it just being a kind of a sniper video where he's up in a desert in this tower and he was going to take out these targets that he's trying to aim for. But I was deciding that if I do that, I have to make it a more bigger base because I don't. The base plate is decently large, and the if I made more of a base, like a structure for the people he's aiming for, it would just kind of take up more of the base plate, and I could just do one like wall and then add some details to it, making it look like it's just a bigger base. But then I'm like, it's gonna be harder for them to stand because I don't want to have to just only do like 2x2s and then have them just standing behind the wall so you don't see them because I'm like that just might be too much work and a lot more annoying because they might fall and then I don't have dragon firm or anything like that to use onion skin, so I don't want to mess it up and then it's choppy and we're there going in different spots and then it just kind of ruins the film.
Right. So what kind of software would you use to make your videos?
Well, I use the Logitech C920 webcam along with its program to use the Logitech C9 webcam. But the thing is it can take pictures, and you can see the last picture you took, but it's hard to see some of the things. So what I chose to use is the Stop Motion Studio Pro app on my laptop, but it won't connect to my webcam, so I just use that to compile all the photos and make it the speed I want it to, and then I put them into Filmora 9, and then for effects and stuff, I just use like the Filmora stock images and the sound effects along with their videos that they provide if you get the film stocks, and kind of the other like Freesound org and Production Crate to do other things.
Um, so how long would it take you to do about like 5 seconds of animation?
Um, I would say probably about 7 hours, depending if I really want to make it good. Well, not 7 hours, but more of just it takes longer because I'll retake the shot so many times because I don't have a playback thing. So sometimes it might take 7 hours just because I am trying to look at the photo, make sure it's right, and each shot I take, I want to make sure it looks the best, and I have to, sometimes I'll redo a shot like 7 times depending on how bad it is or how long it is. If it's a longer shot, I'll just decide, you know what? It's fine. It might look a little bad, but then I'll make my kind of other parts a little better. But working on this part, I won't get the project done until next year, and I want to be able to have this done at least within whatever time frame I had chosen.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that as well. I set myself a deadline for when I had to finish the Marvel video I was talking about. So I just kind of tried to set it for like early May, which is kind of funny because I finished it like May 1st. Yeah, so then I was able to get it out the day after. But yeah, I totally get the like being unhappy with every frame. Well, not every frame, but like being unhappy with some frames and just trying to get that one frame over and over. And then I kind of just realized after that, like, oh, it's only one frame. Just keep going and get more done.
Yeah. It might be one frame, but that one frame can mean a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Um. So, what is the most difficult part that you found of the brick film process as a whole?
Well, I used to find that editing would be kind of more daunting task just because sitting there in front of the computer, not having some of the softwares, I have to just figure out how to do other things. And then I'm almost like, well, I can just like for some of the things that I want to do, like masking. I always thought that was so like I could never do that because I never had Photoshop or anything that like that. But now that I found other softwares that I've actually tried to find instead of just saying, well, I don't have it, I can't do that. So I found GIMP. Now I can do my masking along with that. But for me at the moment, I would say just kind of being able to sit there and just only film without like any onion skinning or a playback thing because it makes it a lot more annoying and harder to want to do it because I find if I'm able to see my progress while I'm animating instead of have to compile all the photos back into an app, I can just see them right there. It makes it more that I want to continue because I see how my progress is going and how far I've gone.
Yeah, seeing yeah how it's going while you're making it is a big help for me as well. Like I do 5 seconds at a time, then edit it and mask whatever needs to be masked and uh, After Effects and different things. And then once I get that 5 seconds, that's kind of like a motivation for me to keep going for the next few seconds again. And then it's just kind of a loop that keeps me going for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your favorite part about the whole process?
The part I would have to say, actually, which is kind of ironic because I always hated editing, I would find editing more of a better thing, a better, what is it? A better category for brick filming afterwards. The best part.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of my favorite as well, actually, because it's like you know that you can just relax, I suppose, with the editing part because you have to really concentrate hard on how perfectly you have to move the figure and like all the principles that you have to follow, and then when you can edit, you can just like see it all come together at like the last step.
Yeah, yeah. I used to edit my videos all afterwards, so I would have everything video done. But I think editing, at least for me, editing all the video, like when I'm done with a certain part, I can mark that off and then go to the next scene. But I can edit that scene, and then once I see how that's edited and I've done the effects and all that, now I can see, well, I have this and this along with I can have this edited, and so I don't have to worry about if it's a 2 hour like masking thing because if I take a lot of photos of somebody trying to fly or a Spider-Man swinging his web, I already have him masked out, so I don't have to worry about him doing that. And now after I've had him all masked, I can now don't have to worry about doing that again. So I can just do another mask, and then I don't have to worry about having another 4 hours of GIMP of editing and all that.
Yeah, I'd be the same. Like I'd mask out all the frames right after, and then put them all together, and then just edit whatever effects last, and then sound effects after, and voice acting clips and stuff. Yeah. So what was the hardest thing you've ever had to film before?
Build.
Film?
Um,
Sorry.
I had to build this whole city once because I was doing a Mickey Mouse skit. He wanted everybody to buy his Disney Plus, so I had to make certain things where he could, like, if he wanted to punch through a wall, I had to make certain things uh, like I had to make certain things easy to take out, like a wall, if I wanted to took out take out. So I would use like these jumper plates, and I would put the walls on that. And then if once I wanted to him like smashing a wall, I could have just able to take off the wall and take off the part that he was smashing. But the problem with that is I constantly had to take the wall apart, and then I had to put it back together. And the jumper plates, they're not sturdy because they just have a hole in them, so I constantly had to put them back on after I would touch them because I was using two 32 by 32 base plates. They're not small, but the thing is having a city and him going everywhere, it makes it harder to not hit the walls and then fall over. In like a couple shots I had to redo because I didn't notice I hit some of the wall and it fell off, so I was gonna edit the thing. I was done with the project, and I'm like, shoot, it fell over. That just looks so bad. So I had to redo that shot, and it was a pretty hefty shot. It took me like 2 hours to finish it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like when uh, brick filmers in general can come up with creative things to get past different restrictions that uh, Lego figures and bricks might have. Like you were saying, the wall, or like I was watching a brick film where someone, I think it was Pig Animation. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you know the way like Batman's cape kind of goes over his whole body whenever he's just like standing still.
Yeah,
So he figured out a way to get like two capes at the same time on the front and the back, so it looked like it was like all the one cape. It was really cool. So I think just like creative ways of figuring out how to execute a certain scene is really cool in brick filming, especially.
yeah. That's why I enjoy watching behind the scenes animations because you can see the process of how it goes. But only some brick filmers choose to do behind the scenes, which is kind of upsetting because I do, and that's one of the best parts of how of watching a film, at least for me, is because I can see something how they did it, and then I want to incorporate that in my film, or I just want to know how they did it. I like to look at the behind the scenes and see if they show that process, which makes it kind of a more new learning style that you can use. So now you have another idea if you want to do something else. So kind of behind the scenes can help other people with animations. So that's why I always like to do behind the scenes.
Yeah, I really enjoy those videos as well. Just seeing that it was actually made by people and not like this thing that, like, if someone's skill level is like way beyond mine, and then you can see, oh, it just they are very experienced, and then they show all these different steps that they take and stuff. It's kind of inspiring, I think. um yeah, really insightful as well.
Yeah, of course.
So do you do voice, like, do you voice your own characters, or do you get voice actors in?
Well, currently I haven't really done many um voice videos, like videos that involves voice. I've just kind of done like videos that are just kind of more serious that I don't involve voicing. But with my Mickey Mouse one, I chose to do voices because I wanted him to, tell everybody to buy him Disney Plus. So I had to. So I voiced Mickey Mouse just because I thought it would be easier because he has more voice lines and more kind of longer voices. So I was like, if I do it, it might be easier. But I've gotten other people to voice for me, just kind of little like or just a little sentence or two. But most of the voices, if I do voices in my videos, it's just more normally me because it's a lot easier.
That's really cool. How would you sync up the audio with the video, like while you're animating, to make sure that it fits properly?
Well, usually I do what's it called? WavePad sound editor, and then I just record it and then I put it into my editing software, which is Filmora 9, and then I make sure I listen to the audio first and then I put it in the audio soundtrack, and then I just kind of have to I cut out the parts that don't involve the sounds, and then I just find them talking, and so I just kind of cut it up from there. I like to just have the parts that involve sound, and I cut those parts so I just see those, so I don't put the audio into the other parts that don't involve sound or voice.
Cool. Yeah, that must take a really long time as well.
It does. It probably would be easier if I didn't put if I didn't cut up all the extra or the video that it doesn't involve sound, but I just kind of feel, at least for me, that it kind of works a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Anything that works for someone that improves their quality of their work film is what they should be doing. I think. Um.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. So, do you keep up with different sets that, like Lego sets that would be coming out?
I used to. I used to buy a lot of sets, but I just kind of buy more parts and minifigures at certain stores just because I find I have a lot of parts to build a bunch of things, so I don't really build sets. Most of the sets I use, I just take apart because I like the parts, so it makes it a lot easier to have a lot more things to make bigger sets. So that's why I usually take them apart. But I do have a kind of shelf in my room that does have some sets that I don't take apart because they're useful in recreations, or just I want to put them in. I don't want to do the work to build them all. But I used to buy all the sets because I found that some of them were just awesome. But now I just kind of buy minifigures. But I have bought some sets recently just because I find that. But I find some of the sets, they are good to either to save because they might be worth more in the future, or they're just kind of nice to have if I do want them, because I do have some sets that I haven't opened yet because I don't know if I should take them apart.
Right. Yeah. I know there are people who like would collect all the different kind of sets on eBay and stuff. Um. Yeah. What's you were talking before about making comedy videos and enjoying that, but are there any other genres that you have explored before?
Uh, it's I don't do comedy videos much more anymore, so I kind of do more action along with like serious and sci-fi because I really like the kind of sci-fi uses all these like nice colors, like, well, colors because most sci-fi films have like aliens or they have monsters and stuff. I always found that in movies the best, at least in my opinion. I always like the all the gun battles with the blaster with blasters, and like one of the shows I've been watching is Vagrant Queen, and I enjoy kind of just how they do some of the stupid monsters and how they do galaxies. And when they go to a different galaxy, they always like to put in the comments, a galaxy, not yours. So I just always kind of find that just little kind of things like that just kind of make the film more funny and more kind of entertaining.
Yeah, yeah, I would be the same with sci-fi type stuff, like yeah, and Marvel, DC, and different things like Star Wars. Just all those three things are kind of the main uh genres, I suppose, that I'd go to when writing a script for video. Um, yeah. Is there anything that you want to talk about, or
Well, uh, some people used to write scripts, and I used to always write scripts along with it. And then I found that writing scripts just kind of for the films that I would used to do would make it kind of more kind of harder to do because I dislike kind of like sitting there just at my computer screen and then just writing a script because then I find like yeah it makes sometimes the story a little better, but I will write scripts for some parts, but I don't think most people do this, but I'll write parts like for some action scenes, like if it's a fight scene or like a certain battle. But then the other ones I'll just leave out because I find that if I can just figure out what I want with it, along with kind of the script, I can figure a little bit more out as I go. Because writing a whole script is nice, but I always find that it makes it a lot harder to do. And with not writing a script, I can always usually it makes the animation a little bit easier for me.
yeah? When I was writing the Marvel video, I had a very concrete, I suppose, vision of what was going to happen, and then kind of realized like maybe I shouldn't care as much about like having it exactly how it is in my head and just uh show like what I want to show rather than having it like exactly how it is in my head. But yeah, for fight scenes, especially I like to improvise a lot of it because like fight scenes are um it makes it look more natural, like makes it flow better in my opinion. There's one scene where Spider-Man is fighting Carnage in a video that I did, and the point that I was trying to get across was that they're just having a conversation, like Spider-Man and Edith are having a conversation. So you're meant to like focus on their conversation rather than the action side. So the fight was meant to show that like it's just a fun visual really for that part. So yeah.
It seems really interesting. I'm gonna have to go check that video out.
Yeah. I have to check your stuff out as well. If it's is it up on YouTube?
No, because I've currently been I've deleted some of my videos just because I didn't like the way they looked. So I've just decided once I'll do this first project, I'll upload more videos. But I find that if I if I just upload videos more to a channel, I kind of don't like the if I don't I like the feedback that some people will give, but I kind of deleted some of the videos that I thought that were just like it's not my style and it might make my channel look like it's more of a something of a channel that it's not because a lot of the videos that I posted that were older were comedy videos like from a year ago, well actually like 3 years ago and 2 years ago. But I was like but it makes probably people think it's just a comedy channel and not more of a channel that I like now that's more serious on recreations because I haven't posted any of those videos yet because they're still being edited. But so I decided I was just like once they're all edited, I'll post them and then it might make the channel look a little bit more different in how I want it.
Yeah, it's like I was saying before, it's good to stick to a certain brand so that the people who subscribe to you can stick around and they don't get fed up with the like if there's too much variety. But it's also nice to not do the same type of stuff over and over again. So it's finding a balance is important as well.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite video that you've made?
Um, one that's currently being uh in production is actually the zombie one. I find that really fun just because I got the influence and the kind of idea to do it is on it was on the official stop motion server, and there, or no, it was actually on the Brick Film Day uh, server, and there was a guy who had this profile picture with a sniper, and it was in front of him. You know, the kind of like sniper, not the sniper like where it's their arms are fully back, so you can see the whole body and the whole sniper, and they kind of took the arm off and to make it look like he's holding the side of the sniper, and his other hand is holding the bottom of it, so it looks like he's about to aim it. I got the influence from that. And I was like, that's actually kind of cool. I like that. So I was like, oh, I kind of did want to do kind of a more war and action video. So I was like, I'll do that because I had an action video that I still have, but it was gonna involve um these three guys. They were in the military, and they were ordered to take out these two men, and I was gonna have them in a big like I was gonna have a helicopter raise down, and then they were gonna drop them down on this big mountain, and the mountain was gonna be like a big circle almost, and in the center was gonna be this big or somewhat big building where they would have to infiltrate, and actually one would be a sniper and have to uh, do kind of would that was the main part I was aiming for because I thought the idea of him sniping, at least I just found it really fun to animate. But I kind of stopped doing it when I was doing the blues because I don't have a green screen, so I just do blue screen, which is basically the same. But was doing the helicopter, and I was doing it. I was gonna have him landing, but then I found that the helicopter kind of it was gonna be a lot harder because I've animated airplanes and jets before, but I've never animated a helicopter, and I was trying to, but I couldn't really get it right. And I was like, I could have them just doing a truck or something, but it might just look weird. So I just decided I'll scrap that idea. And then, like 2 days later, I saw that profile picture. I was like, well, I do have the set built, so I thought I'll just do that. And it took me a while to build a set. I had to really spend some time building, which I'm happy the way the set turned out. I think it really gives some detail. Like I try to add as much detail and different colors I can to kind of make it look a dirtier building, but like it gives it more detail instead of just a plain tan building, because it just kind of gives it nothing to the eye to look at. So I decided to put more effort and detail into it more in my sets, and I like the way it turned out. So I'm gonna try and continue and finish this project.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like I was saying earlier, like it's important to have a vision in your head, but also just go with whatever you're happy with. Like if you're not happy with how a certain thing is, then it's important to stick to your gut, I suppose, of just going with um your own, how you feel. Like if you're happy with something, then you just go with that instead, while maintaining an overall story that you want to tell.
Yeah, of course. I have a question for you. even though this is your podcast, do you mind me asking you a question?
That's okay, yeah.
What is your thought on doing mouth animation? In my animations, I try to do mouth animations. Just kind of, I kind of feel like it gives it more of a, just kind of a little bit more. It's more effort, but it kind of makes it a little bit more nicer, and you can see who's talking instead of them just doing a close up or raising their arms. Because I feel like nobody really does that. Like when you're looking at somebody, because I try to go for a little bit more realism, because I find realism makes the animation a little better, in my opinion. So I can, instead of just moving the arms, I feel like doing the mouth animation kind of gives it a little bit more pizzazz.
Yeah, well, I've never really uh, done any mouth animation, but I really like it when people put that
Effort.
extra realism into their projects. Like, I didn't do it for my recent video though because there was only one character with a mouth that you could see because the rest of them were like in masks. So, um, yeah, but that would be a cool thing to learn in the future. Yeah.
Oh. I always find the thing about doing mouth animation is I find it harder to do it when it's a side view because then I it's hard because I don't have any editing software to make it like bend, so I can't really. If I do a mouth animation from there, it looks a little bit more like the effect. I guess you would say is kind of just you could see that it would just be plopped onto the screen and not like to the side of him. I don't know how to explain it, but it looks weird at least when I try to do it. So I was just like I try not to do side views when I'm doing mouth animations, which is another reason why I try to not do voicing because it makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah, I've noticed like some videos with mouth animation involved will also have difficulty with the side view because it's like from a very uh hard to like you can't really draw over the angle because they're turned to the side. So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, with that without having After Effects and certain things, it's those things that you can't do, and it's just like I don't want to do it now because it just makes if I can because I don't like when the some things aren't consistent. Like some you'll see like I'll see some things in animations where they'll have like hmm, they'll have like certain can't remember it now. Shoot. But they'll have certain things and it will stay like that for the whole animation almost, and then they'll change it, and I'm like, you just changed it. Why? It looks weird. So I try not to do certain things like mouth animations because I've seen people do mouth animations and then they do a side view and it looks just so weird. And it's not the animation is bad, but I feel like it just kind of you're so in you like it and then it changes up and some people don't like it. So I try not to do it because I don't want people to be like, it looks so weird. And I'm like, yeah, I know it does, but I can't fix it. So I try not to.
Yeah, it's good to be not as like we were talking about earlier with trying to not get every frame to be perfect because then it would affect the uh, speed of how much work you can get done. Um, yeah, it's the same kind of thing with mouth animations as well. And then when you do side views, and then it doesn't look as good as you might have hoped it to look. It's kind of a waste of time, I suppose. Like that's just my opinion on it. But yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to um talk about or
Well, I see some people in certain like servers, like a server I'm in with you. People always like look at like these animators and they just look at what do they have? What do they have? And then they see, oh, oh, they have After Effects. They have a DSLR, and then they see all these like high end products and like equipment, and they're just like, I don't have that. Oh, I can't make my animation as good. But then I'm like, but you can. There's so many brick filmers that like Mighty Wanderer. He made a music video with a Logitech C920 webcam, and I'm like, you look at these animations like, oh, here's a good example. Welcome to Darkmoor. Have you seen that film?
I think I watched like the first few minutes, and then I must have forgot about watching the rest of it. But it was good from what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, it is good. But what he used a Logitech C920 webcam along with Adobe's they have an editing software, Premiere Elements. It's a one-time buy. It's $100. I'm like, he used a webcam that was decently cheap. I don't know how much it is now. It was cheap when I got it, but and a $100 editing software along with, I think he might have used GIMP, but he used these Premiere Elements, which is, if you have the money and you don't have the money for some other things, it's worth a buy. So I'm like, he used these kind of cheap things that you can buy. So I'm like, if you just look at some animations, they don't all have the high end DSLRs and all these things. They just use what they have, and like people like Edbound and all these people, they before they had all these DSLRs and stuff, they used the smaller equipment, and they've upgraded and built up their equipment by using what they had, and they've in earning things, and then they just kind of tingling myself with words, but they've upgraded throughout the time as they've been brick filming, so they've gotten better as they've done it, and they don't, because some people will buy the most best animations and equipment they can at the start, and then their animation is trash. I'm not trying to be mean, but sometimes their animation isn't the best because they focus their time and effort onto the equipment and what other people have instead of what their animation look like and how their style is. They haven't found how their style, what and how to just get better at animation. They've just focused on what their animation looks like, not how it is.
Yeah, I was totally the same. Like back in 2016, and up until just recently, I realized I should probably be focusing more on the animation than the actual equipment. And I also uh, my equipment wasn't great though as well, but I was just focused more so on the equipment that I didn't spend time on improving my animation skills, and then that really showed in my older videos. Yeah, so yeah, it's uh yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
There's actually an even better example though. In another Discord server, there is a guy, Random Bricks Animations. He uses a iPhone, iMovie, and like a $5 video, like Saber effects stuff to make his Star Wars animations. And that's an even a better example. He just uses his iPhone. iMovie is free, which is good that iMovie is free, and he uses a $5 app. So with that, I mean, the iPhone is more expensive, but I've seen people just use their Androids, and he has very smooth, nice animations. He's worked on his animations instead of just buying all these equipment, which I find that like he's a really good filmer for that, because I like people who use what they have and they don't just buy everything they can. I really find that since he did that, I find he's really trying to make his animations better instead of just buying the best equipment.
Yeah, yeah, it is kind of a thing that um beginners would people who are starting out, like they want their stuff to stand out, which I understand, but like if they have good animation and a good story overall, well, sometimes the story doesn't even have to be good, just as long as the animation is always improving in everything they do. It's then that's really how people become more um more known to more, I don't know, popular, I suppose, on YouTube and different places.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I suppose, like, going back to what you were saying about equipment, like Forest Fire 101 and stuff. I was listening to a podcast actually. I was listening to a podcast that he was on actually, and he said that when he was starting out, it was just like with a old camcorder that he had, and then he improved his, like, I find that uh, the bigger YouTubers would try to improve their animation skills rather than their equipment, and then once they have the better animation, then they can upgrade to better equipment. I think that's kind of the pattern for the bigger names in the community.
Yeah, I actually heard that podcast too. I really found out like he's a professional animator, and as a professional animator, it shows that you can just come with the basic stuff, and then you can make your way up to his animations that are really, really smooth. I'll say smooth.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you go through all his videos, you can see he gets better and better every video, and his stuff is always consistently funny as well, which is important for any genre, that you keep it like consistent for that genre it's in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you wanted to bring up, or?
Well, something I found that was interesting in that podcast is he talked about how for like 5 months or whatever, like his Lego Green Lantern animation and his Batman versus Batman versus Rogul. He did that in 1 month. He did each animation in 1 month, and so he did it. It was kind of like a test to see how bad it would be, and because he likes to put as much effort and time into his animations. And I find that actually I watch those animations, I watch the other ones. I can see the difference in kind of the story of how he does it. Though I do really like the Lego Green Lantern animation that I found really funny. That's one of my. That's actually, which is ironic because he thought they wouldn't be that good. That's actually one of my favorite animations he's made. But I really like that he was kind of talked about just the more time you can put in sometimes, the more of a better animation you can get.
Yeah, for sure. I totally get that as well. Like with my video that I was doing, since it was such a long process, you can see in the video I actually gradually improve in different aspects, like syncing the mouth animations. Like the first line that was said in it, it was just like two still images. Like he just pointed at him, and then it stopped, and then he put his hand down, and then it stopped. But then, like halfway through the video, they're much more expressive because I figured out how to do the whole fitting the voiceover to the animation. Because I also don't have Dragon Frame, so I'd have to figure out how to do it without hearing the voiceover and seeing it matched up at the same time. So yeah, it was just kind of little uh, ways of pushing myself into uncomfortable situations where I could figure it out and improve. I think that's also a very handy thing to do.
Yeah, I really find they can make some of the best animations.
Yeah, just um, Yeah, I there are a lot of videos like that as well that people might spend a lot of time on, that they get better and better as the video goes on because they're such big projects and they improve more and more during that time period. I've seen a lot of videos like that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Something you actually wanted to talk about is kind of some sets that might be that like it was going to be that are coming out with. Now, I I know it's kind of an older thing, but actually the DC I was very excited for. Usually, I'm not excited for the mystery bags because they're shoot the series bag. How did I forget their name? Well, you can get figures in them.
Yeah,
Oh
the
well,
blind bag
yeah,
things.
blind bags. Yeah. Um, I found that once I actually the way I found them out is Ash and the Flash. Yeah, Ash and the Flash. That's his name. But he talked about how what figures that might be in them, and the figures I saw that I was like, they're okay. But then I was like the actual figures that had come out, and I was like, well, shoot, this is the only one I've actually been excited about, and I find that I I like that they put more. I like that they decided to do more of a different style than just kind of like comedy ones. I guess kind of like an animation, but they found more of a different style of a blind bag they could do. Because I really like the Green Lantern figure, along with the Batmite figure. I have almost every single figure, but the only figure I wanted in there almost was just the Green Lantern figure. I found that figure like that's one of the most um happiest I've been for a blind bag because I saw that Green Lantern figure. I was like, I'm gonna do so many cool things with it because I just like the kind of like the printing on the back, and I really find that they put more detail in some of these figures. They put more details in all the figures in each series, but I like that they put more of a different style. Should be cool if they did a Marvel blind bag just to kind of do both universes. But I feel like the Marvel, they have so many more Marvel Lego sets. But the thing is they're more expensive, and I feel like the DC blind bag kind of gave it more of a it gave more people able to get some of the DC figures instead of having to buy a whole set. So it was a lot easier. So I really like that because now it gave more people a chance to get some figures instead of having to go buy out like a Green Lantern figure. He's only in like 3 sets and they're a decent amount of money now because they're older, and I don't like that. The newest Green Lantern figure besides the one in the blind bag is in the I forgot what set he is in. The Lego Movie 2 Apocalypseburg. But the thing is, that set's $300, so it's like if you could pay that, or you could pay like a $30 set for Green Lantern, or you could pay like I think it's a $50 like book thing. You get him and Sinestro in this Lego book, but that's a lot of money to pay, rather than just $5 and you might get that figure. So I like that.
Yeah, I think the thing about the thing about the DC figures is that there are so many different like Batman suits and Green Lanterns. That there are so many different Green Lanterns, and there are different like so many different suits for every character that it makes for very cool like exclusive blind bags and stuff.
Yeah. It's nice that they're kind of going a different because each figure in there is not the same. Like instead of just a normal Batman, they do Batmite, and I forgot what the this Batman time from the universe is. I've read almost every single DC and Marvel comic book, and yet I can't remember what this Batman's supposed to be from. Forgot, but I like that they kind of do more of a different style for characters like the uh, Aquaman. They instead of his think it's his left arm. Instead of it just two arm, they do kind of a spear instead of just a spear that you can buy. I think they do kind of a different. I think they chose to do a different style along with a different like kind of universe for it. So I find that if they continue doing that, they might get more of a different also audience a little bit from certain people because a lot of people do like the blind bags, but some people don't buy the blind bags just because it's just um the same as the next blind bag, at least. And these, well, they're not all the same, they are different, but at least this one you could get superheroes instead of just you know a girl with a cat or a guy in a pizza costume.
I don't buy them anymore, but when I was about 9, I used to buy the Lego City ones, because I just thought like the whole concept of like not knowing what it's gonna be, but still buying it anyway is was like a really exciting uh feeling at that age.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and I think like it is more worthwhile to buy like the the branded ones, kind of like the DC or the if they do Marvel ones at some point, or if there already are Marvel ones, I don't know, but yeah, there are a lot more. Like there are so many characters that they wouldn't fit into any sets because like they have to go by the ones that would sell, like the movie sets. But since they're probably cheaper to make it's probably cheaper to make the blind bags. They could make like really not well known characters that comic book fans would appreciate, that they included.
yeah. It would have been nice if they added a Shazam figure in it because the thing about it is the Shazam figure. There are two. You can get one in a $50 Lego set with Batman and the Riddler and stuff, but that's a $50 set, and the only other there's two. I mean, there's technically another one you could get that's not Lego, but I know some people do like just the plain Lego. But I'm fine if it's not just a whole Lego figure. But instead of just paying $500 for the Comic Con exclusive figure and ripping its value from taking it from its package, I thought maybe it would have been nice if they just added a Shazam figure because paying $50 or $500, it's kind of a lot more than just if you would have just taken out one. Like I think Stargirl's in it. I think that's the first character I got. I think that's Stargirl with the blonde hair and the star, and she has a tank top. Yeah, I think that's Stargirl, and I felt that was a nice character. But then there's also a B character, but I'm like, it's nice, but I think they've done a B character in like two other sets. I don't know. No, they haven't done one. I don't know, but I felt like they could have taken out one or two of the figures and added some other figures that you normally don't get.
Um, yeah, like yeah, for sure you can like like I remember one of the Lego City type sets. It was like Halloween themed, so there was Frankenstein and then werewolves and stuff, and that was an exciting thing because usually at that age I only bought like Lego City sets, which never really had like those kind of um weird different type figures where
Yeah,
yeah, and you can tell that the people who make them really care about like it's like they have an image in their head of something, and they really put a lot of what they want the figure to look like, and they really put a lot of effort into every figure. So I think that they're really good quality figures, which is also good for just
yeah.
buying the figure on its own. Yeah.
I did like that series with the Halloween ones. I was actually able to find one. I was surprised that I could find those packs last year. Forgot where I found it. I think I was in a store. I don't know what store I was in, but I was actually able to find like 3 packs of those, or maybe it was one. I know I was able to get. Yeah, I was only able to get one, but I got the character with the crab because when those were out, I wasn't able to buy those because I wasn't in. I was able to get them, but I didn't buy some of those Legos. Most of the Legos I would receive was just be from when I was younger. My grandma would get me some sets. Actually, that reminds me. When I was younger, my grandma got me a couple sets along with my dad, but some of the sets I had, they're worth a lot more money, a decent amount of money now. I'm like, if I wouldn't have thrown those out or just not, I would have been happy if I played with them because then I wouldn't have been worried about opening the box. But if I wouldn't have just like opened the box and not been careless with my Lego, if I would have kept those couple of sets, I could have had more rare figures. And it's not about the money. I just like the because I like some of the. I had one of the sets that's worth like $20 now, but it was worth like $10 then. But it was the Batman and Catwoman set. It's where he's Catwoman has her figure. It's and he's in his like light grayish suit with a darker blue helmet, and along with this cape is the same color as this helmet. And I found that set kind of cool, and I'm like, that would have been nice to have. I mean, they're nice figures. I actually have his helmet in my drawer of sorted Lego and stuff, but it would have been nice to have the figures.
Yeah. So do you like collect them and then keep the boxes and the figures in the boxes, or do you like yeah, what's that like?
I always keep the boxes and the instructions. I try to keep every single bit of Lego, even if it's an extra piece, because I I just got all my Lego sorted in all my bins and all my like mini drawers and all my shelves and stuff. So I even if it's just a little piece, I put it into each spot. People find this people probably get mad at me for this, but I actually have I think the first Mandalorian set, which is like $800, or I have the Mandalorian that's worth $800, but I took it apart, and a lot of people kind of not yell at me, but are really upset because they're like, "Do you even know how much that is worth?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's worth like almost $900 with tax and everything. I know how much it's worth." But I just found some of the pieces. I'm like, I could use those pieces in some of the sets I was using. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna take it apart. But everybody's like, not what are you gonna do? That's worth so much money. I'm like, I can rebuild the sets. I keep all my pieces. They're all just sorted and each single piece that I have of my sets are in their own drawer. They're all sorted. I can rebuild it again. It's not like it's not rebuildable. I have the instructions, the box. The boxes, all my boxes I try to keep in the best condition along with the instructions, just because if I do eventually ever want to give the set away or sell it, which I hope I don't because I love it all, um, I try to always keep the boxes and stuff, the sets. But I know some people don't. Some don't keep it. But actually, what made me want to keep the sets in the boxes and along with the instructions is actually Greg and Clark. I used to watch all their shows a little bit when I was just doing other things, but I always found how he always kept the boxes and the instructions and how he was like kind of it can be worth some money along with things. And I was like, actually, that's smart. So because of them, I actually keep my boxes and instructions in nice conditions.
Yeah, and yeah, that's really cool as well to keep the boxes because they also have some really cool like artwork type stuff on all of them. They're all, excuse me, they're always uh, very different, and like each box is going to be very different because they have to show what the set is. So every like pose that the figures are going to be in is always going to be uh, different, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Um,
oh, go ahead.
that's okay. You can go ahead.
I was just gonna ask you if you do keep your boxes and instructions in nice conditions.
Well, I have like just one big massive box. I'm kind of the opposite, but of of how you keep your stuff. But I have one big massive box where I keep all the built sets in, and then like cars and stuff. And then I think I just uh, try to hold on to the instructions, so I have like instructions hidden in different spots, and I don't know where they are right now, but I know I have them. Uh, yeah, I used to keep the boxes, but then my brother said, "Oh, you'll get like excuse me, mice hiding in your boxes or something," and he made me throw them all away. So I was a bit annoyed about that, but um, yeah, I think it's really cool to keep the boxes though. So I try to for as long as possible. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I used to keep all my boxes and stuff in one single big box, but I was like, eh, it kind of ruins the boxes and it kind of can damage them, so I just keep them all stacked up and piled.
yeah, yeah. I kind of just left them like all in. Like I had like the way the more expensive the set is, the bigger the boxes are going to be.
Yeah,
So I would like get all the smaller set, like the smaller boxes, and then put them in the slightly bigger boxes, and then just keep going until like I fit them all in the massive box, and then just keep that like sitting in the corner of my room or something. Um, yeah. So I think that's yeah. And then my brother made me throw them all away, but I'll have to start collecting the boxes again because I think they're really cool.
yeah, I like some of the designs and choices they do. It actually helps me. Sometimes I used to use the boxes like thumbnails for a little bit. If I wanted to make when I used to make older thumbnails for certain videos, I actually used the boxes kind of help me kind of references. I wouldn't copy them, but I kind of just kind of used some of their style, like of how they had some of the figures posted. So I was like, it's actually a kind of cool way to use it. Well, I'm gonna use that. So it kind of helped me do thumbnails.
Yeah, I remember. I think I did that once. Excuse me. um, I did that once for. I did a Lego video where there was this like police guy who had to get this guy's sausage that a robber stole back to him or something, and
Yeah.
I I used I just googled like the box art thing on Google Images and then used that as the thumbnail because I thought that like since it was cool looking artwork that would get more clicks on it. But now I just make my own thumbnails.
Yeah, I try to just make my own thumbnails, kind of give it my own style, but I still look at the thumbnails of boxes and I'm like, they are kind of cool. So I do some like the poses, but I try not to copy most of their style because I'm like, I do want to make it my own style along with my videos. So I try to make it kind of, I use some of the kind of techniques that some thumbnails do, but I try to make it like my own.
Yeah, I really get that as well. Like I just recently did an experiment with my video where I made two different thumbnails and then it's still ongoing right now. I made two different thumbnails and had one up for a couple of weeks and then wrote down all the analytics and then made a second thumbnail and it's up right now. And then I'm gonna compare the analytics by the end of the 2 weeks or so, and then see which one performed better.
Yeah. Some people don't focus on their thumbnails and stuff. I'm like, thumbnails, your editing, your animation, every single bit of your movie, it matters. It When you watch a movie, you don't just see that they put most of their effort into the movie, they put a lot of effort into the thumbnail because the thumbnail makes you want to click the movie or watch it on YouTube or pay for it at the movie theater. And the description makes you like the description of a movie makes you want to either pay the money to watch it or you're like that seems stupid. Everything matters in a movie, and some people just focus on what their sets look like or everything, but I'm like everything matters for a movie. You should put all your effort into the thumbnail, the description, how your movie looks. Of course, that always matters because if they do end up clicking it, you do want them to enjoy it, but everything matters to people wanting to watch it and just to click it.
Yeah, I that's something I only realized recently that the thumbnails are a lot more important than I thought they were. So I definitely, yeah, I had to try and learn how to make more like clickable thumbnails. Um, so I think I'm improving a bit since like a couple years ago when I used to just use an image from part of the video or something. Yeah, but the thumbnail is definitely important, and yeah, like also another thing is like trailers for stuff. People would really try and add a lot of suspense to them to get people to try and find out what happens next in the actual thing. So yeah, trailers are important as well, I'd say.
Yeah. You can put some effort into it if like your movie is gonna come out in 2 years or whatever, because some people have made their movie and they put a trailer out that's coming in 2 years, like the Batman movie. Even Marvel has still put out their I mean DC, duh, or whoever, but they've still put out their trailer out, and that movie's not planned on until coming out until next year, or maybe in another year, depending on what's going on with everything. But they didn't put official trailer. They just put a little bit. They showed his car, and they showed him in a suit. That mini trailer, it can make you like, ooh, I'm gonna subscribe to this channel because I want to see how the official trailer is gonna look, how it's gonna look, everything. So even mini trailers like that, because some people I've seen do mini trailers and they put so much work into a mini trailer, but now the mini trailers you could put a little bit less work into it because it's not the official trailer and you should put work into that trailer, but it can just be a little bit more of them. You're just showing a city or a photo and you're just typing words of, something, a little thing. But some people type too many words and it's like, you could cut this because it is a little bit much. And if you just do that, I think sometimes the animation and the film makes it a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think it's that whole thing of like the more hype that you build up around like Marvel fans or something for like Infinity War or Endgame, like there was a crazy amount of hype and everything, and then it really helped the movie in like the box office stuff. Um, yeah, so I think
Yeah,
like yeah, the mini trailers, like you were saying, really help build up the hype for um projects, and yeah,
yeah,
I think
always.
they're really cool as well. Is there anything else that you'd like to um close off the podcast with?
No, we can end it.
All right, cool. Thanks for coming along and sharing your different things that we talked about.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Where can people find you and subscribe to your stuff?
Uh, if I do end up making a well, I do have a YouTube channel. I just haven't posted videos on it, but it will be FrameWork5. That's gonna be the name of it, or is the name of it.
Okay, cool. I'll leave the link in the description
Okay,
so
great.
that people can find it. Yeah, but thanks for coming on and talking about all the different things that we talked about.
Yeah, no problem.
This is actually the first episode as well, so it was really good for a first episode and just in general.
An hour and 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Decent long podcast. I think longer podcasts kind of make it more enjoyable. So, yeah.
Yeah.